Okay, I just want to put a review video here for Module 7. The important thing to understand in this module is that there is no conflict for Catholics and other non-literalist Christians regarding uh, the scientific theories like the Big Bang and the evolution of species and the creation stories in Genesis 1 to 3. All right, so what am I basically talking about here? Well, the Big Bang Theory says that the universe was created about 14 billion years ago, and the Earth was formed about 5.5 billion years ago. And the scientific theory of evolution via natural selection demonstrates how an Earth slowly evolved um, from single cell organisms to the point we have it now over about 4 billion years, right? So it took humans and other creatures came to be the way they are through a slow and gradual process, right? That took about 4 billion years. Now, if we go to, now we have good reason for believing that stuff. We have lots of evidence, right? Lots of reasons. We can even call these scientific theories facts, right? Um, Pope Francis actually said these theories are more than just theories, right? He's saying no, these are sound facts. Basically, we can and should believe them, right? Now, if we go to the Bible, that's not exactly what it says, is it? Matter of fact, it's really not what it says in any close correlation at all. So the stories in Genesis 1 to 3 say that everything on the earth was created as the way they are now, in the form they are now, within a course of a few days, right? Several days. So on the surface, you might read those both and say, oh, there's a contradiction. You know, one says took billions of years, one said it happened right away. One says beings evolved slowly, species developed over time, and the other says, oh, everything was created pretty much the way it is now. So on the surface level, some people find those to contradict. We, as Catholics or other non-literalist Christians, we do not think they contradict. We think that the first story gives us the scientific facts, and the second story isn't about scientific facts. The second story is about what it means to be a human being, right? The meaning of the earth, God's relationship to his creation, right? And God's relationship with us. And we do have good reason for believing that, um, besides just the fact that it's not matching up with science. You know, if you understand the people who wrote it, they did not have the same kind of scientific mindset that we have today. That was not their goal, right? Second of all, even if you look at the stories themselves, you'll see that the order of creation is different in them, right? In the first creation story, man's created last. In the second creation story, he's created much closer to the beginning, right? Other the animals are created after him. Lots of other things are created after man. So we can tell that the people who put these stories in the Bible, they didn't care that they weren't uh, historical or scientific facts, right? It didn't bother them. Why? Because that's not what the stories are about. So basically, if you understand that we read the creation stories in the Bible as symbolic, they tell us about the meaning of things, right? Whereas the scientific stories, they tell us more about what happened in precise scientific terms, but guess what? They don't tell us what any of it means, right? So if you understand that, you'll understand the other things that are going on in this module. So you'll see some mistakes that some people will make, like mistakes that some people will make saying that, well, since the Big Bang Theory doesn't need a God, right, then no God exists. Well, that's not true, right? You can't prove that there's a no God just because God wasn't needed for this process to happen, right? That'd be like saying if someone made a computer and the computer works without that person, that person doesn't exist. No, that's not true, right? Or if someone built a robot, so that robot doesn't need that person to exist. Do they not exist? No, not at all. Um, that's really not a logical argument. Again, we can't prove or disprove the existence of God. There are some good questions, like, however, though, like what created the point that exploded in the Big Bang? Like, how did that get there? It's a good question, right? Science can't answer it. Again, it doesn't prove that God did it, right? But it shows you can't prove that there is not a God. Finally, you also going to understand the errors of people. This is kind of a new phenomenon. People like the intelligent design school of thought, they are trying to prove that Genesis 1 to 3 are historical facts using contemporary scientific methods. Um, Again, this is number one, just unnecessary because that's not what they're about. But number two, it gets, kind of messy. You get some very bad science involved in this and really end up abandoning reason in the process. Okay, so I hope this helps understanding the basic ideas in this module. You're going to see a question very similar to this on the exam.